Oh, is it? Yeah, that's our corner. At the top, we corner right there.
Paul asked me to visit with you about is the vegetation management he's done out here and kind of how he did it. But when he logged this in what, 3 or 4 years in pieces? This whole clear cut?
13 years.
13 years, so okay, it's a blur. But what we did, we had a crew working nearby, and sometimes for small woodland owners, it's hard to get a helicopter lined up. And helicopters are getting more and more scarce. It's just the nature of how things are working out in the industry right now. But there are ground crews that do a nice job. So one of the crews we used on some of this to site prep spray this, so right after Paul logged and piled, we tried to get the vegetation healthy and happy again. So the leaf surface is happy and it can receive the chemical better to translocate more chemical down to the roots. And we do a site prep spray, and believe it or not, on this real steep ground, we had a crew out of Medford. There's about 15 guys on the crew, and they line up, and they got a foreman behind them that follows them, and then they got a flagger that flags the edge, and they walk across the hillside spraying. And they're almost on a dead run. It's a pretty amazing crew to watch. And when they get to the end of their piece, they kind of do a sweep, kind of a cartwheel. The one guy at the end kind of stops and everybody else swings out. And it's only running, even on steep ground like this, only about 15 or 20 bucks more than a helicopter.
They came out here and pre-commercial this area, and they got it down to about 565 trees per acre, which is still more than you want. And since that time, and that was about 1982 or 3, we've been commercially thinning this. And commercial thinned it now for however many years that is, between 82 and 2003. And so now these trees are 50 years old. Then I worked for the U.S. Forest Service for a year, and then 20 years I worked for the Department of Revenue, and we were doing timber inventory work for the Department of Revenue. In fact, my boss is here. Where'd he? There he is, Norm Marsh, who's still working. He's even older than I am, and he's still working. And then after that, I went on my own, and I've done a lot of work for Starker in inventory work and appraisal work for lots of people, and management for some other smaller owners. So that's kind of my history.